Okay, so before we talk about the immune system section, which is what we're going to talk about now, somebody brought up a good point that different people like to take different things. I'm not a big pill taker. I know a lot of people who don't like to take a bunch of pills. Use liquids. Cedar Bear liquids, liquid tincture. We have lots of liquid herbal tinctures. We have gel caps that are little itty bitty, just super easy to swallow capsules. A lot of people don't want to take big horse pills. We don't have a lot of products here that are big horse pills, but there's different delivery systems depending on the person. A lot of times I work with young children. Young children can't swallow capsules. So everything I recommend to them has to be liquids. And that's fine, because we have plenty of choices for that. So that might be a good thing to ask people initially. Be like, I want something for stress. Or if they say, I heard about holy basil, like, how could I take that? Well, would you rather drink a tea or take a capsule or just do a liquid? I ask people that all the time. And people will have, most likely they'll have a preference. Most likely they will have a preference. So it's a good question to ask them.
Jen had a question.
And what if they say, because I bet a lot of people will say, well, give me whatever's the best. Which one's the strongest? Or which one's the most effective?
Yeah, sure. So which one is the best? Which one's the most effective? In general, it'd be the liquids are going to be the strongest and the most effective under the tongue. And then beyond that, it's going to be the concentrates. So like the oregano from North American Herb & Spice, it's a concentrated oregano, which is why it's so powerful. It's not, you can take oregano capsules, you can take liquid oregano, there's different ways to take it, but the most powerful is going to be the concentrates. Even herbs, some of the herbs we have are 4-to-1 concentrates. Like the acai berry, for example, is a 4-to-1 concentrate. In other words, they took 4 pounds of acai berries to make 1 pound of the powder. Does that make sense? And there's 25-to-1 extracts out there. There's 50-to-1 concentrates out there. You know how many hundreds of pounds of rose petals it takes to make a little tiny bottle of rose essential oil? Literally, that's why it costs you $100 or whatever it's going to cost you. So yeah, good question. So immune system. So we'll get into a few. Oh, did you have another question? No? Okay. Can you check this camera real quick and just make sure before I do all this and miss it?
Yeah, you're good.
Good? Okay. So in the immune system section, this is going to be a popular section. Maybe not so much in the summer, maybe more next fall, winter. But people are always going to want to know how to strengthen their immune system. The immune system is a big deal. We'll talk more about the immune system when we get over talking about digestion in the gut, because the gut is a huge critical part of the immune system. This is more herbs that you take to strengthen your immune system. Now there's 2 general categories of different ways to take something for your immune system. One is people want something strong to knock out a cold, a virus, a flu, an infection, a bronchitis, a urinary tract infection, anything that's of an infectious organism, like a bacteria or a virus. They're going to want strong natural antibiotics, strong natural things, God's medicine that kills bacteria and viruses, because we know antibiotics have a lot of problems, can have a lot of side effects. So that's kind of one category where people want something strong to knock something out right now because something's going on right now. The other thing is you have things that just build and strengthen the immune system over time. This is kind of a Chinese medicine concept. You put things in your body that strengthen your energy, strengthen your life force, strengthen your immune system, keep your white blood cells active and your body producing the right things in your immune system on a regular basis so that you live a long age and you don't get sick. Unfortunately, in America, kind of that Western mindset is do whatever you want, treat your body as a playground until something bad happens, and then how do we fix it? That's just kind of our culture. Hopefully that's changing a little bit, but so we're going to have a lot of that. We're going to have people get sick or colds or flus or whatever. They're going to need the immediate medicine. We might have some people, hey, I just want to strengthen my immune system over time. How do I do that? So on the top, what I put, and this is going to change organically, as we grow. But right now on the top, I put all medicinal mushrooms. I'm a huge fan of chaga, and reishi mushrooms. Now there's all kinds of medicinal mushrooms. There's cordyceps mushrooms, there's turkey tail mushrooms, there's agaricus mushrooms, and on and on and on and on. There's all kinds of very powerful medicinal mushrooms. I tend to focus on chaga and reishi as two of my favorites. Chaga grows on birch trees in northern climates. And when I went with North American Herb and Spice up to Canada, that's one of the things we did. We climbed up on birch trees. We found chaga mushrooms. We actually had a contest who could find chaga mushrooms, and you win a prize, and we had all kinds of fun. Chaga is called the mushroom of, I think it's called the mushroom of immortality. It's kind of the nickname it got. It's really popular over in Russia and some other parts of East Europe. And there's cultures where they drink chaga that have really almost no sickness or disease or degenerative type of illness where it grows. So chaga, same thing. You have choices. You have chaga capsules. You have concentrated liquid chaga extract. You have a chaga boost drink, which is kind of like a cleansing drink. Chaga charge, which is a tea. So you have different choices of how to take chaga. Now, why would somebody want to take chaga? To strengthen their immune system would be the main thing. If you want something just to strengthen and build your immune system over time, medicinal mushrooms, chaga, reishi, fantastic. If you want something that's safe for children to take to strengthen their immune system, let's say you'll often have parents say, you know, my child just kind of has a weak immune system. He gets sick all the time. Now, you're going to want something really strong when they're sick. But you're going to want, that parent most likely is want to give something to their child that can strengthen their body and their system over time. So chaga and reishi, those medicinal mushrooms, all the Chinese tonic herbs are really good for building the immune system slowly and strengthening the body over time. Again, we don't want to just be reactionary and knock out a cold when we get it. We want to strengthen that child or person's immune system long term so that they don't get sick. That would obviously be the ideal scenario. I always recommend chaga and reishi mushrooms when anybody is going through any kind of cancer treatment, radiation, chemotherapy. Why? Because it'll protect the body. It'll protect the immune system while the chemotherapy or the radiation is damaging the body. So we know with chemo and radiation, although it'll kill some of the quote-unquote bad guys' cancer cells, it's going to kill a lot of the good body. And unfortunately, in general, what happens with a lot of intense cancer treatments, it's let's hope we kill enough of the cancer before something happens to we lose the person. And again, we either have other options, or if they choose that route, great. I mean, that's their choice. But we can help protect them. I had a good friend who was a tennis buddy of mine in Las Vegas, and he had it was prostate or testicular cancer. It was a man-related cancer. And he was young. He was in his 20s. And we talked about different options, and he said, you know what? I feel comfortable doing the radiation and chemo. And I said, okay, that's great. That's your decision. I want you to trust in that. But would you take some things maybe to protect your body while you're going through radiation and chemo? He's like, oh, yeah, I totally believe in what you're saying and what you do, and I'll totally do that. And I gave him reishi, chaga. I gave him this other blood cleansing tea. He was taking all these things while he went through his chemo treatments, and he came and he said, Vaughn, he goes, you wouldn't believe it. He goes, it's so sad. I walk into those chemo treatment centers. Everybody looks like they're sick, they're weak, they're frail, they're losing their hair. He goes, I barely got nauseous through my whole chemo treatment. I barely got nauseous. I didn't lose any hair. I felt pretty okay going through chemo. You don't hear people say that. Okay, chemo is devastating to the human body. Again, it's a man-made solution. It's a toxic man-made solution, not a godly solution. So these medicinal mushrooms, very powerful for immune system. Again, so cancer. I haven't really talked about the liver, but that's one of the best known reasons that people take reishi and chaga both. They're known to increase different immune system factors in the body and in the liver, interferon production, for example, which is common in the liver. Chaga mushroom boosts that, reishi mushroom boosts that. In Chinese medicine, they use reishi all the time for liver issues. So that would be another main reason to use chaga and reishi mushrooms is for the liver. So going on to the next row, we kind of have our really, really, really powerful knock a cold or flu out right now. My favorite thing for that is oregano. I love North American Herb & Spice. I think they have the best oregano on the market. Be careful. People know oregano works, and people know oregano's popular. There's over 50 different varieties just of the oregano plant. Okay, God is a very creative designer. He didn't make just one version of some things. He made a lot of versions of some things. So you want to know what the best, most medicinal oregano is. You want to, again, know your source and your company. If you just go to the store and buy any oregano, you don't know the quality of it. You know this is going to work. Dozens and dozens and dozens of times, people take this oregano and it knocks out their cold. Most of the time, you want to catch it before it even starts. So you always tell people, as soon as you feel the hint of a cold, a flu, that tickle on your throat, a little bit of sinus congestion, a little something going on in your lungs, hit this. So how do you take it? You can do the liquid, again, under the tongue, right into the bloodstream, or you can take capsules. I often have people do this like they would an antibiotic treatment. Take 1 or 2 capsules every couple of hours. And you won't even get that cold or flu that's trying to get you. It'll knock it out. Sometimes even if people already have the cold or flu, if they do that, take it 1 or 2 every couple of hours, it's gone the next day. You can a lot of times knock these things out really quick. The liquid form, it's very strong, it's very powerful. So I'm just not sure who's going to be able to take that based on how strong it is. Children probably aren't going to do well with strong liquid oregano. So there's actually a kids version that they have in the children's section. Yes?
The one where you can drink the liquid is it could be put a few drops in water and just shoot it like a chase, like just.
Yeah, you can put drops in water and shoot it, or you can put it under your tongue. It doesn't bother me, but for some people it's too strong.
It's really strong.
It makes you cough a little bit.
Yeah. You take it for your cough and then you cough.
If people specifically say, so we have liquid oregano, concentrated liquid oregano capsules. Again, it depends on the issue also a little bit. I'll just share this. Let's say somebody comes in and they have C. diff. Have you heard of C. diff?
Yeah.
Let's say they have E. coli. If they have some type of bacterial infection in the gut, do you want to put that under your tongue and let it get into your bloodstream? Or do you want it in your gut? You want it in your gut. Take a capsule, goes right into your gut. Boom, it's going to work there faster. So this is going to be better for gut-related bacterial infections. This might work better for the cold flu virus stuff, chest stuff. Get it right under the tongue. Get it right into the bloodstream. Get the immune system working right in the bloodstream. We have also this Oregabiotic, same company, North American Herb & Spice. If somebody comes in and they say, I want a natural antibiotic instead of taking antibiotics, we have the Oregabiotic. I love this stuff. So this is the oregano, but they also put cumin oil, wild sage oil, and wild bay leaf oil. Why this is so much stronger and more unique than the other products, North American Herb & Spice in general, is they use oil extracts. So think of like essential oils. They're actually getting the oils out of the plant. That's the strongest medicine. They're not just taking the dried up herb powder of a plant and sticking it in a bottle, for the most part. They do have the oregano just in capsule form. But most of the time, they're getting a liquid extract that's usually from the oil. So if you take oregano oil, cumin oil, sage oil, bay leaf oil, do you think that's going to work better than if the formula is just oregano, cumin, sage, and bay, and it was just in the powdered herb form? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The oil is going to be stronger. So the reason this stuff really works is because God made it awesome, but this company is keeping that intact the way God made it so that it's delivered to the person that way. And most supplements you buy don't do that. They don't have the same quality standards.
One of them is just a powdered oregano.
Yes.
Which one? And that's by
Is
North
it
American
oregano
Herb &
mass?
Spice?
Yep, they have wild high mountain oregano herb. They have Rus coriaria, which is sumac. And this has garlic and this has onion. Okay. So this is a good immune system formula because Rus coriaria is very high in vitamin C. Garlic anything sulfurous, garlic and onion, very powerful for the immune system. This is actually a very good immune system formula as well. It's more general. Yeah, it's not going to be as strong.
The oil would be more like, if someone's fighting an infection, we want to really promote the oil.
Yes.
If they're just wanting something like long-term, or let's say they're chronically sick, and they just need to really keep working on then the other one would be better.
Yep.
Or more appropriate.
Yep. So the other thing, I'm just thinking of things that I've used this for in the past. Urinary tract infections, yeast infections in women. 2 every couple of hours. Again, like an antibiotic treatment, it will knock it out. A lot of times I'll have them take 2 of these every hour, every couple hours, and then at night before bed take their probiotic, or often even have them insert a probiotic vaginally with a yeast infection, and it works. It really works. The other products on this shelf are going to be some of your standard other very powerful immune system herbs that people know about that knock stuff out really fast. Echinacea. We've heard of everybody's heard of echinacea. Golden seal. Myrrh. So this is echinacea, golden seal, yarrow, ginger. It's called Herbal Fighter. I love this stuff. I use this a lot. This is stories of using this when somebody had a bug bite, a brown recluse spider bite that was spreading. Mix this with bentonite clay, and it sucks that infection right out of the body. So clay, along with something that's a strong antibacterial, antiviral, anti-poison, works great. You could use the oregano for that purpose too, but the oregano is so strong that might sting on the skin. The echinacea golden seal in a vegetable glycerin base will probably work better topically.
Is golden seal, I'm remembering something about not safe for women who are pregnant or breastfeeding. Is that
yeah,
right?
So she said, is golden seal not safe for pregnancy or breastfeeding? Yeah, golden seal, it's called a berberine herb, toxic in high amounts. Most herbs in general we don't recommend to pregnancy. When we get to the pregnancy section, you'll see that we're going to only trust companies who have been doing the right things and using the right herbs for decades. Because you have to be really cautious with strong herbs during pregnancy. So yeah, golden seal you would not do during pregnancy for sure. Yes?
That should be something that we have behind, because we're going to get that question a lot. We need to probably have a list for the main ones to not take during pregnancy. My opinion, as opposed to having a list of what not to do during pregnancy, one thing is we'll have the herbal books that are going to have pregnancy sections, and they can read about that information. The other thing is it's safe to not take anything that you're currently taking herbal while you're pregnant. Stop taking it, and only take things that are recommended specifically for pregnancy. That's the easy answer. And from companies we trust that have been giving herbs to pregnant women for long periods of time. Is that? Yes, but I get that question all the time.
Okay.
They're going to get it.
Okay, well, so she said we're going to get that question all the time. We're going to get it. We don't know everything. We can't know everything. There's no way we can know all the herbs that a pregnant woman can't take.
And I agree. So maybe what you're saying is a great answer. I'm just saying that there are a few that we do know. We know that the uterine contractors, they should not be taking. We know that they shouldn't be taking sage leaf.
It's easier to tell them what herbs they can take than what they can't take. Because the list of herbs that pregnant women can't take is going to be in the thousands. The list of herbs that a woman can take while she's pregnant is going to be a couple of dozen. So it's much easier to wrap your brain around that. And so again, it's just educating people. Well, what herbs can I take? We don't recommend any herbs during pregnancy unless they're these herbs that have been used for hundreds of years in herbal medicine specifically for pregnancy, because we want to protect you and your child while you're pregnant, and we don't want to trust anything else. Now, if you want to take something on your own, that's fine. But we really only recommend these that are specifically recommended for pregnancy by these companies. Is that fair?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Cool. So this one is pretty cool. It's called the Great Guardian. This is going to be your Chinese tonic herbs that are going to build an immune system over time. So this would be like a main recommendation for people who go, I just want to have a strong immune system. I don't want to get sick. I want to have a strong immune system. We could go through these herbs. Astragalus, it's one of the top herbs used in Chinese medicine for strengthening the immune system. Ganoderma, which is reishi mushroom. We just talked about reishi mushroom.
Chinese tonic herb, great for the liver, anti-cancer, anti-tumor, great for boosting the immune system. It's got schisandra berry in it, and it has gynostemma, which it doesn't have, that's just the Latin name, but that's jaugulin, which is the Chinese immortality herb. So this is a very powerful, just overall build, strengthen your immune system over time type of a product. Moving down here, we're going to have our cough syrups. So a general cough syrup is going to have, this one's wild cherry bark. A lot of them might have honey in them because honey soothes and coats the throat. And then you want to have things that knock out infection. Tell you what I really like for the throat is this throat soothe spray, because you can spray this directly on your throat. And it's got herbs not only that are going to soothe the throat or coat the throat, but it also has like echinacea and herbs in it that are going to knock out the infection that's in your throat. So the throat sprays are really nice, and this serious cough one too. This one's specifically for coughs. Somebody comes in with a really bad cough and they want to get rid of it. The spray is so cool. You can just spray it right into the back of your throat. They can take like these syrups too, and just take that, or they can even gargle with something like this. This right here mostly is elderberry. Elderberry is super popular. Everybody's looking for elderberry. We have elderberry in the bulk herbs that you can do elderberry tea. There's elderberry syrups. These are incredibly popular. This is a concentrated elderberry, 17-ounce jar. This is a smaller version. They have this, which is just a little, people might want to take little lozenges, you know, while they're cold. You know how people pop Halls or, you know, whatever those things are. This is like that, but it's elderberry, echinacea. It's got vitamin C and zinc. So it's just a little cold flu lozenge that people can help with their throat and with colds and flus. This is called...
Just a little specific about elderberry. And
what's that?
Can you explain a little bit specifically about elderberry?
Is it an antioxidant?
Yeah, a little specific about elderberry. All berries are going to be very high in antioxidants. So the darker the berry, the more nutrient content, the richer the plant nutrients in it. Basically, it's like the more sunlight and different nutrients that it's absorbed, the darker the berry. So elderberry is a great example of a dark berry that's going to be really high in antioxidants. It could be in the antioxidant section as well. But what this has been known traditionally, I mean, and all these herbs have multiple uses, and I certainly don't know all of them. But elderberry by far is one of the most popular herbs ever used throughout history for the immune system. And so North American Herb and Spice, again, our favorite company, one of our favorite companies, wild raw elderberries. I went to Canada with them and picked berries out of the woods. If we could get them before the bears, we had herbs, we had berries to take back with us and turn this into medicine without destroying the plant. And companies don't do that. Very few companies do that. So one thing we like to say is, you know, our products are as close to the way God created them as possible. If God created everything perfectly and we want that to be delivered to the people, then we have to use companies that aren't manipulating the products. And a lot of companies do that. So this Super Lysine Plus, kind of a general immune system formula. This is really good for people with cold sores, people with viruses like herpes, because it's got your lysine in it, which lysine is an amino acid that's an antagonist to certain viral conditions. So a lot of times when people have viral issues, reoccurring viral issues, like with certain sexually transmitted diseases, they know the list. They need to eat high lysine foods and avoid foods high in arginine, which is like chocolate, which makes everybody sad. But they know that they eat chocolate, they have a flare-up of that viral condition. So this has the lysine in it with echinacea, licorice, you know, propolis, different things for the immune system. So Super Lysine Plus. Next section down, we're going to have our breathing, respiration, lung type of section. People are going to come in and they can't breathe. They have shortness of breath. They have a history of asthma. They have you know, bronchitis or something. With that, they would need oregano or some really strong natural antibiotic, but they might also need a formula to help them breathe better, to help open up their lungs. So we have North American Herb and Spice. Again, this is oregano with other extracts specifically for the lungs. They have cumin in here, they have cinnamon in here, they have ginger in here. Clear lungs, I like Ridgecrest products. They have a regular strength and an extra strength. This is a blend of herbs and homeopathics to open up the lungs. This is pretty popular. Deep lung, again, a spray. I like the sprays because you can spray them and get them right into the throat. So again, just to open up the breathing passages to help people breathe better. It'll also pull infections out of the lungs. Mullein is a common herb that grows all over around here that the Native Americans used forever for different lung and respiratory type of conditions. They'd actually take the leaf and roll it up, and they would actually smoke it in small quantities, because if you over smoke anything, it can damage the lungs, but it would actually heal their respiratory infections. And so you'll see mullein in a lot of these types of formulas as well. And then Ridgecrest has a formula called Asthma Clear that's very specific to asthma with the chest tightness and just opening up the chest. When you talk about asthma, just to give you a couple things on a health condition, asthma is the lungs trying to expel something toxic. So when children get asthma from a young age, you should assist their body from expelling the toxin. Instead, what we do is we give them a steroid that suppresses that reaction and allows the toxins to build up and stay in the lungs, which is why it accumulates and gets worse over time when you use medications. You're actually suppressing what God's trying to do to heal those lungs. That's a big deal. And so we have people that have been taking these steroidal inhalers for decades. They have so much sickness and congestion in their lungs that they keep having to take stronger doses, or the medicine's not working anymore, and that's because you haven't assisted the body in healing and detoxification. So with asthma, hydration is huge. Make sure they're drinking enough water. Make sure they put sea salt in your water. You can actually stop an asthma attack by putting a little bit of sea salt in water and drinking a huge glass of water. It will stop an asthma attack. The other thing that will stop an asthma attack is an herb called lobelia, L-O-B-E-L-I-A. Lobelia has a long history of use in asthma and respiratory related conditions. It's an emetic, so it means if you do too much of it, it will make you vomit. If somebody was having an asthma attack and you gave them lobelia and they vomited, that'd probably be the best thing that could have just happened to them, because it could save their life. People die of asthma attacks. Before they invented inhalers, it was rare for people to die of asthma attacks. Now that people use inhalers, you allow the sickness to build up in the body. Now is why people are dying of asthma attacks, because we've suppressed what God is trying to do to heal the body. This is a pretty cool formula. It's called Second Wind. It's literally oxygen, diluted oxygen, that you can spray in your mouth under your tongue, and it works like an inhaler. What do you need to breathe? You need oxygen. So this is actually a way you can deliver oxygen directly into your lungs. Down here we have our sinus section. We have the neti pots, which a lot of people use. It's two really strong sinus sprays. This one's called Nasal Blast. I'll tell you the ingredients. I'm going to ask you how fun this would be to spray in your nose. This one has sea salt, peppermint oil, thyme oil, eucalyptus oil, tea tree oil, spearmint oil, and wintergreen oil. The one by North American Herb and Spice is awesome.
That one is awesome.
We can't even keep this on the shelf. I mean, we order, cases of it. If you've had a sinus infection, if people have sinusitis, if they've had chronic reoccurring sinus infections, here's what's going on. Started as a small bacterial infection, and instead of treating it with something that kills the bacteria, that doesn't build germ resistance, you've heard of germ resistance? Organisms actually change and morph because they're living organisms. They were created by God. So when you take a man-made drug like an antibiotic and you kill the bacteria, it kills some of them. You think you've cured your sinus infection. The ones that didn't kill get stronger. Next time you use the antibiotic, you have to use a stronger dose. Next time you use it, that antibiotic doesn't work at all. You have to use a different one. Who's experienced this or heard of this happening? This is extremely common. And it's because these man-made drugs don't have any intelligence to them. They're an all-purpose killer. They kill the bad germs, they kill the good germs, and the strongest will survive. The germs that survive will grow into stronger versions. They will actually morph and change from a bacteria into a fungus. When you get a fungus infection in your cavity, antibiotics won't touch it.
In fact, antibiotics just continue to make that organism stronger, which is why people end up getting sinus surgeries. If from the very beginning you would put something in your nose that would kill fungus and not create germ resistance, because natural things that God created, natural antibiotics like garlic and clove and olive leaf, you don't get germ resistance. It kills the bad guys, and it does not allow an opportunity for any of them to grow and repopulate and morph and change. Again, because there's that intelligence behind those plants that God made. So this will knock out a sinus infection. I don't know if I've ever seen this not work in somebody. So we love, love, love the Sinus Aurega. Kick It Sinus, another spray. You could spray it in your throat. That's going to give you direct access to your sinus cavity. Sinus Clear. Couple allergy products. People are going to come in with allergies. I don't have a ton of allergy stuff, and the reason is because I found a couple things that work, and I really don't need anything else. Now, if people ask for things, great, but this Hello Blossom is unbelievable. The first ingredient, so let me explain on allergies. I'm specifically talking about airborne allergies. If somebody comes in and they have dog hair, cat hair, dust, pollen, hay fever, right? Spring stuff. This is going to be huge right now. Spring, things are blossoming, allergies are kicking in. What grabs the allergens out of the body? Because these are things in the body that the body should be able to filter and get rid of, and you shouldn't even know that they entered your body. When things bother you, your filters aren't working ideally, and so things are starting to bother you that normally wouldn't. So you can do some cleansing and detoxing, but an immediate fix is going to be something like this Hello Blossom. Anything with bentonite clay in it. Bentonite clay grabs allergens or any kind of foreign contaminant in the body, something that shouldn't be in the body. It'll grab it. It actually attracts to it like a magnet. So the hay fever, the pollen, attracts to the clay like a magnet. The clay binds it and pulls it right out of your body. This works every time. Same thing. I've never seen this not work. In general, what I tell people is take 2 of these every hour until you have no allergy symptoms, and then you can take 4 a day for maintenance. So that's just a general rough recommendation I give people. Hello Blossom.
And it was 2 what?
I usually have them taking 2 every hour until they have no symptoms. So it's kind of like loading. They're kind of loading up on it to get the allergens out of their system. But then usually 4 a day just works for maintenance. And some people really get miserable with allergies, like they can't even function.
Yeah. Yep.
And so this is a good, quick, immediate fix. Between the sinus spray and the Hello Blossom, I mean, people are set.
And that oregano spray, like the sinus spray?
Yes.
Like really like every 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Until they're,
Yeah, same thing with the oregano spray.
Like
Yep.
they just do it once or twice a day. It's not going to work for that.
Right.
If they'll take it like that many times a day, they'll probably be better almost by the next day.
How many sprays do you do
It's
on
amazing.
the nasal class?
Okay, so there's some questions about the nasal spray. You want to use it as needed, but Jen had a great point that let's say somebody's had a sinus infection and it's like, man, I've never had a sinus infection before. I don't know where this came from. Give them the sinus spray, a couple sprays, they knock it out. Hey, maybe do it another day or 2 just to make sure you knock it out. If people come in and they've been suffering with chronic sinusitis for 20 years, or maybe they have sinus surgery and they still have sinus issues, once they feel better, they need to continue to take that for at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because you want to make sure you fully eliminate all that infection that's up in there. Sometimes you'll knock back just enough infection so that there's no noticeable symptoms, but it's still lingering back there. This is kind of like women, reoccurring yeast infections, right? Like you didn't fully heal your body or knock that out and it comes back in a month or 3 months or 6 months. Sinus infections, different bronchial infections for different people. So that's a good point. Did that answer that question?
What's the frequency and amount of times you squeeze? Is it just one?
Just one spray in each nostril, yeah, and as needed throughout the day.
And when you have somebody like that, I've never done those because this kind of stuff kind of like it's so intense for me. But like, would you just recommend it regardless and just be like, it's intense? And
Yes.
And just deal with it.
I always tell people that it's strong, but it works.
It'll make your eyes water. I mean,
Yep.
I told our patients over at this, and I'm like, it will make your eyes water. You'll be hating me for like 3 seconds, but then you'll want to hug me because you're going to feel better. I mean, it really works. We've sold like thousands of bottles.
Yep.
We sold probably 50 bottles a week of that stuff.
Yeah.
A week.
I believe it.
I've never heard one person say it didn't work. Never.
Yeah, stuff's amazing. And so I had one gal who came back the next day after taking it. She goes, you know, just a word of advice, maybe let people know that the first time they use it, not to be driving.
Like, yeah. Lana Hartkey said that to me. Lana Hartkey said she was like, Jen, you told me that it was going to burn. You didn't tell me I would be almost unconscious.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
It's really bad, but it's so worth it.
So back to the allergies, like with the Hello Blossom, clay. Now they can get liquid clay. I don't have it here, but in the mineral section there's liquid clay. They can take liquid clay, pour it into water, drink that, do that once or twice a day. Same thing, it's going to bind those allergens, pull them out of the system. The reason this product works so good is because it has the clay in it as the first ingredient, but it also has eye bright for the eyes. It's got mullein for the lungs. It's got different herbs that are going to increase circulation in the different parts of the body that have general allergy issues. So it's going to stir all that up, and then the clay is going to grab it and pull it out. So I've never seen anything work better than that. I've been using that for years for people. Hello Blossom.
What's
Bottom.
the other allergy one that you said you have 2?
Usually I said just the Sinyo Reg and the Hello Blossom together is all you need.
Okay.
We're going to have another product called Dehist, which we're out of.
Okay.
Things that are natural antihistamines. People have histamine responses to things. There are things that are natural antihistamines. It's usually going to contain nettle. It might contain quercetin, which comes usually from onions. Sulfurous things are very high in quercetin, like onions and garlic. So anything sulfurous is very good for allergies. So if somebody wants a natural antihistamine, we have a product for that. Aloe vera is also a natural antihistamine. Those are things that you could give people.
What was the 2 antihistamines?
Quercetin, nettle, aloe vera, all of those will work as natural antihistamines. Bottom shelf is your colloidal silver. Okay, there's different variations in strength. For the most part, I use things that have a small particle size, 10 to 20 parts per million. There's some controversy over using silver because they say it accumulates in the system and there can be some toxic heavy metal issues. I don't know where I'm at with that exactly. I do know silver's been used in medicine for thousands of years. They would put silver coins in drinking water just to make sure it didn't get contaminated because it would kill any bacteria, virus. You'll have people that swear by colloidal silver. They've been using it for years, and it works every time for them. They can use it in their sinuses. They can use it for colds, flus, and infections. A lot of people are now saying better to use in an acute situation when you want to knock something out as opposed to taking it every day long term, just in the off chance that there could be an issue with the accumulation of the silver. Hey, can you leave that on? Thank you.
Well, and also they're saying that it could be, it's so strong that it can actually act as a indiscriminate antibiotic. They believe that it could be wiping out good and bad.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So
I mean, this is
we would have to do some more.
I know.
Yeah. We would probably want to do some more research, but the ones I have for the most part are 10 parts per million. And if you look at some of these companies, which we have down here, they will show you, they will give you research until you're blue in the face that tells you how good their product is, how safe their product is, how it absolutely does not accumulate in the human body. They have tests to show it and prove it. This stuff's been around for decades. So a lot of it might depend on the particle size. A lot of issues is because people know about colloidal silver and they make it at home. And when you make it at home, there's so many variables. You don't know the quality. You heard about the blue guy who turned blue or whatever. I mean, the guy's drinking a gallon a day of some stuff he made at home. I mean, you don't know what people are doing. So, but people will buy colloidal silver, and that's fine. So that's pretty the entire immune section. So again, just to kind of reemphasize, acute, knock something out right away. Echinacea, golden seal type of formulas, oregano, garlic would be good for that. Any really strong natural antibiotic. It's gonna, it's not gonna create germ resistance, and again, it has that intelligence to do the right things in the body, unlike an antibiotic. And then you have your medicinal mushrooms, your Chinese tonic herbs, astragalus, those types of things that are gonna build the immune system over time. There's a lot of other things that go into the immune system. We'll talk about immune system when we talk about the gut. We'll talk about the immune system when we talk about blood and lymph. But this is just kind of the main things that people are going to come in a lot because of acute situations. And again, don't just think cold flu. Anything that involves a bacteria or virus. People might come in with herpes or a urinary tract infection or pink eye. Yeah, colloidal silver right in the eye for pink eye. Works great. Conjunctivitis is another word for pink eye. So any type of bacterial viral infection, this is going to be the section if they need something now.
And you can be confident using the silver externally.
Yes.
There's no question about that.
Externally, you can use all these externally. When people have, if they know, like eczema and psoriasis, some of these things are different, but some people know they have a bacterial infection on their skin. You've heard of MRSA. That's a bacterial infection. Staph infections. So these are infectious organisms causing problems on the inside the body, but it's manifesting on the skin. A lot of times you can touch something and pick something up in the hospital and get MRSA. I know a guy who went into a hospital because his wife was having knee surgery and he came out with MRSA. It basically took over his whole upper part of his body and almost killed him. Just going into a hospital. Hospitals are very, very dangerous places. Yeah. Unless you need your life saved. They're very good places. But other than that, they can be very dangerous. So why did I say that?
Using things externally.
Yes, so you can use these things externally. So MRSA, staph, bug bites, bad spider bites that are spreading. You want to put salves, something that's a strong natural antibiotic. It's not in this section, iodine. It's been used forever as a natural antibiotic. That's what they used to use in hospitals before they invented all of these antibiotics. They used to use iodine and oxygen and just natural things that God gave us. Mm-hmm. So we've kind of lost that in this age of...
Do we have some of those, do we have any of those in a cream form, or do we have to just make stuff?
Yeah, when we get over to the personal care section, I've kind of put all the creams and the salves together in the personal care section because most of those people are going to use topically externally. So they're in the personal care section, but there's some amazing things over there you can use for skin infections. Fungal infections, athlete's foot, again, MRSA, staph, any of those types of ringworm. Right, we have some ringworm stories. Yeah, that's all going to be personal care. So that's really good stuff too. And it's like 10 to 6, so maybe if anybody else has any questions, we'll probably call it a night. No way we're going to get into pregnancy and children's and women's. Woo! So we'll probably stop right there.
Okay, that's good.
Wow, that was good, guys.
This is very